Well, here's my grandpa's log splitter. I got it from him about a year ago. This is the original owner's manual. He dated everything he purchased. So, this splitter is about 35 years old. When I got it from him about a year ago, it was a little kind of rough shape. We had rebuilt the engine together when I was about 16, and we used it a lot to split a lot of wood when I was younger, when I went over to his house every Saturday, sometimes Sunday too, and would help him around the yard. It ran pretty well, but after 35 years, the cylinder was shot, some of the hoses were bad, the valve was kind of iffy. In the neutral position, the cylinder would creep outward even though the valve wasn't being pushed either way. So it was in need of some work, so I got it from him. And it originally has a 10 horsepower Kohler. I had a 12 horsepower Kohler cast iron bore that I put on. I took off the original pump. I don't know what the flow rate was of the original one, but I took that one off and I replaced it with a 22 GPM 2-stage pump. I bought a new valve and I added a filter. The old one didn't have a filter, and I took the cylinder off and I had it rebuilt. I put all new oil in it. The channel there is the oil reservoir it holds. As you can see, my grandpa figured out here, it takes 7 gallons to fill it. The 12 horse engine that I put on here is electric start and electric ignition, as you can see with the coil there. And I wanted it to be pull start so I don't have to bring a battery and cables out. So I took the recoil start off the 10 horse, swapped it onto the 12 here, and it fit fine. But right after I finished it, I realized, wait a minute, it doesn't have a magneto. So even though I can pull it over by hand, it still won't fire without a battery. So maybe next summer's project, I'll put a magneto on here as well so I can have mag ignition, or maybe even both. Made up a little control panel for it, voltage regulator, solenoid, and everything. I took this engine off the wheel horse tractor that I made my hit or miss tractor from, which is why it's battery ignition. The biggest problem I had with this is that 2-stage pump definitely needs to be below the oil level. So, as you can see, it's just about, this channel is the oil reservoir, and that is just about at the level, if not a little above. So I kept sucking in air, and it wasn't cycling smoothly, and the cylinder was getting air in it, driving me nuts. And partly because it wasn't working right, and partly because I didn't want to burn my brand new $300 pump up. Actually, it was a little less than that, 200 something. I bought the valve and pump and filter from Surplus Center for a pretty good price. All those together were about $330. Anyway, so I had some leftover 5-inch exhaust tubing from my stacks from my Dodge, so I welded end plates on it, and there's the original filler tube. So I just made a really crude tank, and I made a bracket there so it doesn't vibrate too much. And it's only filled up to about there. Not a lot of volume, but all it needs is extra height above the pump. And assuming nothing leaks, it doesn't really matter that the fluid level is low in that extra reservoir. It just needs to bring the level above the pump. Got some new hoses and new fittings and stuff. And that's about it. It works pretty well. I've only split one log with it. The only problem right now is that the governor hunts a little bit on the engine. I don't know if it's dirty carburetor or maybe it needs an adjustment, but it runs pretty well, so I'll fire it up for you. Well, that's about it. Thanks for watching. If you guys got any questions or comments, let me know. Thanks for watching. Come back for more.